the weather. Another round of rain and storms pushing through the metro, and it's lighting up Storm Tracker 4 tonight. A flood advisory for northern Macomb County was just lifted, though.
That's right. Let's get over to Brett Collar, and it's going to stay warm and steamy like this for a while, Brett.
Yeah, no change there. Even through the weekend, it's going to stay hot and heavy, so just get used to that. We will, though, see some more dry time this weekend. Some good news there. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Storm Tracker 4 is still picking up on a couple of downpours. Far northwestern Livingston County, some heavy rain, but also in parts of Wayne County at this hour into far eastern Washtenaw County. This is Garden City, Livonia, Inkster. Just some moderate to heavy rain falling. Nothing severe. Really not seeing any lightning or thunder there as well. And I'll tell you, this thing is moving very slow, as all these showers have today, only at about 15 miles per hour to the north and east. So we'll put a track on it. Again, not moving much, but if you're in any of these cities or townships, you're going to see this in the next little bit, assuming it holds together, which it likely will. May not be as heavy, but there will still be some rain falling through the evening hours before we dry things out. Again, though, more dry time this weekend. We'll dive into that in just a bit.
A preventable tragedy that just won't stop repeating.
Put the guns up, secure them. Let's not let this happen to our children.
A 3-year-old shot inside a home on Detroit's west side.
Right now, that child is in the hospital recovering after being shot with an assault rifle.
It happened overnight on Littlefield, not far from the intersection of West Chicago and Schaefer Highway. Rod Maloney is following this story tonight. Rod, there are a lot of questions here.
Oh, indeed. And in fact, Kimberly, there are a lot of cases like this, and that's one of the frustrations that the Detroit Police Department is having. And they're saying in this particular case, with children getting access to a gun, that there were 2 children and that the gun was actually larger than they are. And they also tell us that there was a mad scramble after the gun went off. Here's the house on Littlefield. Shortly after midnight, a child rushed to Henry Ford Hospital after getting shot inside a closet. DPD Commander Michael Chambers explaining.
It appears that a gun was left accessible to some children. There was actually 2 children that were playing in the closet, and unfortunately, the 3-year-old was shot. The child was hit in the thigh and also in the stomach area.
There were 2 children involved, the other just 4 years old. Most disconcerting, says the commander, the mother's involvement.
There was multiple adults. There was some that were downstairs, some that were upstairs. There was the mother that we're told that was also in the room.
No one called police from the house. Instead, police learned about it when the child showed up at Henry Ford Hospital. DPD telling Local 4 the mother's boyfriend allegedly decided to ditch the gun, which was a rifle. Upon a search, police found that gun at an abandoned school a few blocks away. Police also found blood inside that closet and a spent shell casing.
It's just an unfortunate incident. Our hearts go out to the family. It's very difficult. That's why it's so important with gun safety that the public knows that it's important to put these guns up, don't have them accessible to children.
Now, that child is going to survive after surgery. And it's one of those things where DPD is telling us that it's very frustrating because gun locks are readily available. In fact, we found these for a 9mm at a local police department, and they say that you can get them. In fact, there's something called Project Child Safe that has gun locks. They say they want people to go out and get one of these and use them if you're going to have guns around children. Back to you.
Good thing that that 3-year-old is going to be okay. But Rod, I'm wondering, are there any arrests or charges in the case yet? What are police telling you?
Well, we just got off the phone with DPD a little while ago, and they told us that this investigation is ongoing, and so therefore they don't have any arrests just yet, but they have to put together a case, send it to Kim Worthy's office, and then they would have to see, what charges can be filed. We have seen in cases like this in the past that there are child abuse charges often filed against parents involved in situations like this.
Yeah. We'll continue to follow it, Rod. We appreciate it. New here at 5, early test results show no traces of a cancer-causing chemical in the Huron River.
The 11 surface samples were taken this week, downstream from the release of the hexavalent chromium. The state says Wixom's Tri-Bar Manufacturing released the chemical into the sanitary sewer system. It then went into a creek that flows into the Huron River. The state is still recommending people stay out of the river between North Wixom Road in Oakland County and Kensington Road in Livingston County. The state is continuing to do testing in those areas. Fort Louisville police officers are facing federal charges in the death of Breonna Taylor.
The Grand Rapids native was killed during a raid in 2020. The Louisville police officers were investigating a suspected drug ring and knocked down Taylor's apartment door in the middle of the night. Her boyfriend opened fire, saying he thought it was an intruder, and officers returned fire, killing Taylor. The Justice Department says the officers lied on an affidavit to get a warrant to search her.
We allege that the defendants knew their actions in falsifying the affidavit could create a dangerous situation, and we allege these unlawful acts resulted in Ms. Taylor's death.
Today's overdue, but it still hurts.
Also included in the charges, the accusation that an officer used excessive force when he fired blindly into Taylor's apartment. A Russian judge has sentenced WNBA star Brittany Griner to 9 years in prison.
Griner pleaded guilty to drug smuggling and possession charges after police said they found cannabis oil in her luggage at a Moscow airport. Chris Pallone following that story tonight from Washington.
Even Brittany Griner's Russian attorneys called today's sentence absolutely unreasonable and accused the court of ignoring the evidence and Griner's quick admission of guilt.
Yeah, that the team.
Before being sentenced, WNBA star Brittany Griner apologized.
I never meant to break any laws here.
Russian authorities said they found less than a gram of cannabis oil in Griner's luggage as she arrived at the Moscow airport in February, an error made while quickly packing for her trip, Griner said.
I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here.
But the judge ignored Griner's pleas, sentencing her to 9 years, 1 year less than the maximum. In a statement, President Biden deemed Griner's sentence unacceptable and said his administration is working to bring her and another American prisoner, Paul Whelan, home as soon as possible.
There is no rule of law in Russia. People need to remember that. There's no rights.
Two sources say the U.S. government has offered Russia a prisoner swap, releasing convicted Russian arms dealer Victor Bout to secure Griner and Whelan's freedom.
We urge the Russians again to seriously consider that proposal, to act on it, and let's get these two Americans home where they belong.
Griner's friends and supporters now hope negotiations between the two countries intensify.
Whatever conversations Secretary Blinken and his counterpart need to have, we trust that they are having them with all deliberate speed because it's time.
Griner's Russian attorneys say they will appeal. As she was taken from the courtroom, Brittany Griner said, "I love my family," to reporters gathered in the hall. In Washington, Chris Pallone, Local 4.
That appeal, by the way, must be submitted in the next 10 days.
The Biden administration has officially declared monkeypox a public health emergency. That decision comes as cases are on the rise. There are now more than 6,600 confirmed or probable cases here in the United States. Tuesday, the White House named Robert Fenton as the National Monkeypox Response Coordinator. Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with a closer look at what today's declaration means for the fight against this disease.
Given that the U.S. is still dealing with questions about the governmental response to the COVID pandemic, it's good that they're moving things along more briskly with monkeypox. Now, I should be clear from the outset, the declaration of monkeypox as a public health emergency has nothing to do with any change to the threat level to the average person. The reason for the declaration is that it unlocks funding to respond to the emergency and it makes certain services more readily available. In particular, the rollout and availability of vaccines and one specific antiviral treatment, well, it's been slow. Now, hopefully, this declaration is going to speed things up. One final point I want to make. For individuals at higher risk, while a vaccine may help, it is not a substitute for more careful behavior to prevent spread.
All right, Doc. There is mounting confusion and anger tonight in Oxford following allegations made by an attorney that an armed security guard could have but failed to stop last year's school shooting. It's led to new questions about what did and did not happen that fateful day. Priya Mann has been working to get answers on that today. And Priya, I know there are rules about what can and can't be released to the public.
That's right, Jason, and prosecutors are limited in what they can release, especially before trial. It's a very different story, though, for the school board. And as new information in this case comes to light, legal experts are weighing in.
As a parent, I'd want everything. I'd want to know it all. As a prosecutor, you can't release this information to the public. You just can't release your entire file to the general public before a trial.
Neil Rockkind is a criminal defense lawyer and says prosecutors can't risk jeopardizing a case or tainting the jury pool by revealing all the facts before trial.
How does the fact that there was a security guard, which is an extremely important piece of information, Priya, how does that play into the guilt or lack thereof of Ethan Crumley or of the Crumley parents? It doesn't. It certainly plays a role in whether or not the school district has culpability.
On Wednesday, attorneys representing some of the victims' families amended a lawsuit against Oxford school officials. Attorneys say surveillance video shows an armed security guard walk past one of the victims who'd been shot. Attorneys say she then opened the bathroom door where the alleged gunman was, but did not go inside. Moments later, Justin Schilling was killed in the bathroom.
There's almost no reason I can think of for the school district to not have released that information. The way that this is all unfolded, I think it raises and begins to raise a level of distrust. I can see it. You can see it. You can hear it. You can feel it fomenting.
And Oxford school officials have been hit with several lawsuits saying there's a lack of transparency and accountability. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we're going to see a little bit back and forth between the district as well as the attorneys who amended that lawsuit yesterday to include the security guard. We'll also hear from parents who say they're heartbroken and outraged. That's all coming up new at 6 o'clock. Reporting live in Oxford, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.